Hey there, welcome. I hope you're doing well. I'm Shawna with Astropsyche, your counseling astrologer. So this is your weekly horoscope for September 19th through the 25th. And I want to share with you a little bit about the new moon that we're having this week, what Mercury is doing while it's still retrograde, and then we have some Venus transits that I will share with you. And so the goal is really to share with you what's going on this week and then how to make the most out of this energy in your life. Um, so, first thing that I want to note is that Mercury is still retrograde, right? So it stationed September 9th, and Mercury will continue to be retrograde until October 2nd. Now, that being said, Mercury is making kind of like there's like a shift point this week in Mercury retrograde's process. So this is because midweek on Thursday the 22nd, Mercury and the Sun are going to come together in the zodiac. So they're going to be what's called conjunct. And so this is a time where there can be a new insight, a new awareness. There can be like that aha moment. Or where there's simply this state of clarity around something that may have been uncertain, or where you're like, maybe you've been trying to make some changes in your life. And if that is the case, this is the week where things start to click. And maybe the changes don't fully like physically move into place, but you know what you need to do, and the plan is coming together, so to speak. So what's really interesting is this all happens when around the same time that Mercury moves from Libra back into Virgo. And then at the same time, the Sun moves from Virgo into Libra. So they kind of like switch at the same time. They kind of like cross each other. So this is kind of interesting. And I really like this actually, because when Mercury moves back into Virgo, it's still retrograde, yes. So there's still this theme around contemplation, revising, revisioning, and making changes to your life in a way that is more conducive to what's happening for you right now. And so there's all of this revisioning, right? And when Mercury moves back into Virgo, it's in its rulership, which means that Mercury can express its nature in a way that we experience as more pleasant. Virgo is very much about lists and planning and ritual, regimented, anything that involves a process or a system or a like a thoughtful, ritualistic kind of vibe. So this week again can be this this period where the puzzle pieces start to fit together. And the other energy that's happening along with this that's a little bit different, I'm curious how you're going to be feeling this week, is we also have Venus, also in Virgo, opposite Neptune. And so this is a bit of a challenging aspect because Venus is about our relationships. It's also about money, finances, our values, self-esteem, how we value ourselves. And when it's opposite Neptune, this can create sometimes confusion. It can sometimes show where we're not seeing things clearly. Neptune is about illusion. And so it's the thing that we can't see. And so this can be not seeing things clearly, seeing things in the way that you want to see them versus how they actually are. So, you know, I would just notice how that comes up for you. It's interesting because there's like this clarity that can come through the Sun conjunct Mercury. But then with Venus opposite Neptune, it's kind of like there's still a little bit of fogginess, so there's still a bit of uncertainty there. And this happens a lot in astrology, right? Where two things will be happening that mean the opposite thing or very different things. And it can sometimes manifest as a little bit of everything. And so there may be a bit of fogginess, especially around either finances or relationships, but then certain sparks of clarity as well. The other thing, so we'll talk about the moon here too, is the other thing that's really interesting when I was looking at this is that the moon is going to pass over this chunk of sky that we're talking about. So we've been talking about Virgo, Mercury retrograde through Virgo, the sun moving from Virgo into Libra, Venus in Virgo, and while all of this is happening this week, the moon is going to transit over this section before it lands at the new moon in Libra. And so we're going to talk about that in a second, but I think this is really important to note too, because the moon is our emotions, it's our day-to-day, hour by hour feeling tone, sense, how we subjectively experience things, how we respond to things based on our experiences and our temperament. And so there's a potential for a high sensitivity around these issues. And so I just want you to notice, like really notice feelings that you're having, intuitions and instincts. And I think that sometimes an intuition can be more of like a fear or something that you're like, okay, I know I'm feeling that, but that may or may not be reality. Sometimes it is something to pay attention to, and only you know what's right for you. But I want you to really notice that, notice sensations in your body. If you're going to do something and you have a certain inner sensation, just notice these things, because the moon is going to help you tap into this inner knowing that's happening this week. Now, okay, yes, so the new moon is happening. So this is exact, let's see, this is exact on Sunday, September 25th at 2:54 p.m. Pacific time. I'll put the time for other time zones in the notes below. This is happening at 2 degrees of Libra, so it's like really early in the sign. Of course, this also means that the sun is in Libra, so happy birthday to my Libra people. So new moon is always this time of planting new seeds, envisioning the future. It's more, I want to really emphasize with the new moon, because I think that there's this conception that we should be starting new things with the new moon, and that's not necessarily the case. It's about envisioning a new beginning. It's about the new beginning being fertilized or being planted. And that is something that's usually not seen. We typically don't see when something is planted. It's a more kind of private or internalized or quiet kind of phenomenon. And so we can align with this through thinking about what we want for our future, especially in Libra related topics. So topics that involve finding peace and balance. Maybe you want more work-life balance. Maybe you just want to manage anxiety. I think Libra is also a big indicator of how it is that we can find inner equanimity and make those moment-to-moment changes or week-to-week changes to do that. Yeah, how to manage anxiety, how to create a space that you feel is beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. Of course, Libra is also ruled by Venus, associated with relationships. So it could be envisioning what you want from your relationships, how you want to cultivate meaningful relationships that feel reciprocal, that feel fulfilling, that feel connected and deeply meaningful. These can all be things to think about with this particular new moon. And Oh, one tip that I wanted to give to you too, that's a softer transit that's happening this week with Venus, is that I think is more helpful. So sometimes with the helpful transits like the trines, we can kind of ignore them because they're a little more easy. So Venus is also going to trine Pluto and Uranus this week. So these are very supportive aspects. Venus trine Pluto is about healing, emotional, I don't want to use the word emotional wounds because I think that sounds a little intense, but any kind of emotional challenges or crises or traumas or things where it's kind of like a little bit tender. Venus Pluto can be very conducive to healing those things. And Venus trine Uranus can actually be this exploration of something new and envisioning doing relationship or connections or even aesthetics and beauty and the art in a different way, in an eclectic kind of way. So I would just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that there is support here for you when you look at relationships, in how can you get healing from this? How can you get closure, healing, and how can you innovate your life? I think that's also conducive to the new moon as well, is to envision what would be innovative and new and beautiful and wonderful for you, because you deserve that. So I'm sending you lots of love and wishing you a really wonderful week. I will see you later. Bye.